So just to sort of update you on research, Virginia Tech's in a really unique position here in the United States. That we're one of the, I'd say, sort of leading or few um, universities that are doing what they call carbon capture utilization and storage research. So we're funded by the Department of Energy. We have a current grant for about $11.5 million to do what we call CO2 injection into these organic formations. So we're injecting into coal seams, into for coal bed methane production, as well as into shell reservoirs for enhanced shell gas recovery or enhanced liquids or oil recovery from shells. So we actually have two field sites. We just did an injection in a horizontal well in the Chattanooga Shell in Tennessee. We're ramping up for what we call a 20,000 ton injection into coal bed methane wells, into three wells in southwestern Virginia in Buchanan County, where we've previously done one smaller scale injection to basically prove this. And what we're doing is when you inject CO2 into an organic rock, it has an affinity to absorb on the microstructure within that rock. So there's actually micropores that the CO2 can enter through the cleat systems and joints within the coal and then basically diffuse or infuse basically into the rock, into these micropores. And these micropores in the coal matrix is what's actually held methane, or in the shell matrix as well, has held methane and other hydrocarbons for millions of years. So it's actually adsorbed on the surface. And CO2's affinity to absorb is greater than that which methane's already absorbed. So we believe through some of our testing where we're injecting CO2 and then bringing wells back under production, laboratory analysis, we believe the CO2 can actually enhance recovery of natural gas out of these wells. So this is two benefits. One is for greenhouse gas mitigation, for global warming mitigation, where we can take CO2, capture it from a fossil fuel fired power plant, whether that be coal, natural gas, or oil, capture the CO2, compress it, pipe it, transport it, inject it down into a producing gas field where we can simultaneously store CO2 while enhancing or recovering more of the gas that's actually in place that was unrecoverable prior to the CO2 injection. So we're sort of on the edge of some of this research where we're actually doing this in wells today. So this sort of bridges the question where we're talking about, is natural gas, also a fossil fuel, right? So when we burn natural gas, we also produce carbon dioxide, which could lead to greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. But when we do that, it's roughly half or less than half the amount that when we burn coal. So the idea that we are moving from, natural gas could be a decent bridging fuel that we're moving from, if global warming is our, one of our main concerns, natural gas can help bridge us from a era where we're burning coal into, more renewables for electricity production. And so natural gas is a great bridging fuel for that, as well as a fuel for, chemical industries, home heating, and those sort of things. So what we're seeing in the United States is it's, pretty clear based on environmental rules that are coming down from the EPA on how much CO2 we can emit off power plants. So there's one rule that's basically should be going into place soon on new power plants that put a limit that the amount of CO2 we can emit from a new power plant is equal or less, or equal or a little bit more than what we get from a natural gas combined cycle plant now. So it'll basically make the process of burning coal in a new plant with current technologies illegal unless you did carbon capture and storage. There's another rule going out right now that is in the comment period that will put a limit on how much states can actually emit.
Okay.
So states will have a limit on how much greenhouse gases they can emit from power plants. And this is likely, our analysis has shown that many of the coal plants will be closed, and basically they will be, we would need to open new natural gas combined cycle plants to replace those existing coal plants. So we're seeing, our projections or whatnot is that natural gas will likely soon dominate the energy infrastructure within the United States for all uses. So, and we're seeing that the only way to really do this, and in my opinion, the only way to do this is through hydraulic fracturing. Without the advent of horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing, we would not have an option to get away from coal. If that's what one's goal is, or there wouldn't be any economic option. The shale gas development is actually allowing something that would be able to reduce emissions. That development of that technology is crucial for that.
Gotcha.
But on the other hand, we're basically putting all our eggs in one basket here, is my opinion. So we're actually moving from, maybe it might have been a 50-50 mix if we look at energy in the U.S., or it's probably about a third, a third, a third. We look at oil, coal, and natural gas in the U.S. We're going to move away from that third being coal for all energy, not just electricity.
Right.
Coal electricity was typically in the 50% range for a number of years. That's dropped down to 35% now, and likely will fall even more. And then the gas from these shale deposits are what are taking up that drop in coal, and we're likely to see that. But that means that this amount that we're going to rely on natural gas is all eggs are going to be in one basket here. We might even start using natural gas as a fuel for transportation. We're starting to see that as well. A lot of companies, buses,
Right.
towns, cities taking their fleets of buses and putting compressed natural gas vehicles out there, liquid natural gas vehicles. Probably likely to see that, but that means we're all tied to the price of natural gas.
Right.
So what if we look at historically over the price of natural gas? It's very volatile. It goes up and down with demand, supply, drilling laws, those sort of things.
Right.
Where we take electricity in general. Let's take electricity specifically. Where we look at electricity from natural gas, about 65% of the cost of your electric bill will be tied back to the price of natural gas in a natural gas power plant, versus where we see in a coal plant where only maybe 30% of that whole price of getting electricity from coal is tied back to the price of coal.
Right.
So now if the price of natural gas goes up, imagine if it doubles, your home heating value is going to go up by, maybe not quite double,
Right.
but it's going to go up,